And, it'll be like, let's just say, how much is that 1,500 square foot space? And I say, well, it's $30 a square foot plus CAM, and, it's going to run you 50 grand a year or something like that. And then, so I'll say, well, have you done any kind of business plan? And they're like, well, yeah, I've got the ideas. I said, so, I mean, what are you going to sell? How many cinnamon rolls are you going to sell? How many loaves of rice? And they just have no clue. They haven't even done the very basic of, I got to sell 1,000 loaves of bread to cover my rent. And just something like that is just, back of the napkin, start putting some stuff down on paper and evolve your pro forma. They may have the strength of baking, but they don't have the strength of, putting the books together or a pro forma together. I mean, dude, if you don't have your numbers down, forget about hospitality. You're not even going to make it there.
Yeah.
One of the funny things, one of the groups of people I really like to work with are people that are trying to get into the business and help them make pro formas. I'm
Yeah.
a nerd like that.
Yeah.
I enjoy the academic exercise of a pro
Right.
forma
Right.
a lot.
Yeah.
And I make them very dynamic. So you can go in and you can change variables and it updates the P&L and all this stuff. So when an investor asks you a question, you just change the variable. Boom, here's what would happen if that happened. You can
Right.
war game in real time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And what's really funny to me is the more I do this, the more I realize you can take any investor, any landlord, any bank on the planet, 100-page business plan of marketing crap,
Yep.
and they ignore it.
Mhm.
Yep.
You show them one ironclad pro forma, they don't have any questions, right?
Right.
Especially starting out, all that matters in so many ways is that you have the solid numbers, and you can say, to your point, this is how many loaves of bread I have to sell out of my bakery to make my rent.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I did commercial appraisals for so long, and I would skip all the all the stuff, go right to the numbers. Just go right to the numbers and dissect it. And I think that's what anybody starting out. I mean, obviously, Chris, you've got it. You've talked to us a little bit about, the AI side of things, but yeah, that's where the meat is. Dude, I mean, you got to know how many pints of Guinness you're going to sell. You know how many Tito's and soda. I mean, you got to pay the rent.
Cliff, it's funny you say that. Just recently, we were with a client and we were doing a whole tech overhaul, and they had to work out. I had to get them to work out how many new iPads they need to buy for this venue to act as the POS or the EPOS system, whatever you just call it there. And they were like, yeah, well, we're going to need this, and then we're going to need, this many more PDQs. What do you call them in the States? The credit card transaction things.
Right.
So PDQs. And we're going to need some of that. And then I talked to the PDQ guy and I was like, yeah, we're going to need some more PDQs. And they were like, but that site already has 25 PDQs. I was like, hold on a second. That site never has 25 people on at the same time serving. So why have they got 25 PDQs? And it's taken it down to the granular level. And you never think of hospitality as a sort of numbers driven by that, but we need all that data, all that granular data to be able to make on shift decisions correctly and sort of future proofing the business correctly.
Yeah.
The molecule of information. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's so funny. The wasted money in tech and appliances and that are just floating around, not charged and in the back drawer and yeah. How to manage your linen, Chris, exactly. How to manage, the consumables coming in and out of the business. It's mental.
Well, that consumables is a huge one, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't know how many business plans and P&Ls I look at for pro formas, and they didn't include paper products. And then they tell me, well, yeah, at night we're going to sell everything in plastic cups because we don't want to break glasses.
No,
Well, where are the plastic cups on your P&L?